Welcome to the Pub Sports Radio College Basketball Closing Time Show for Tuesday, January 12th. Ian Cameron, Conor Mack with you, ready to break down the Tuesday college basketball card. We've got my camera software updating right now, and unfortunately, while that's happening, the video doesn't work. So I'm coming to you in audio form only for the time being right now, but still here with Conor, ready to break down this Tuesday card. Very interesting card overall. A lot of interesting games to break down and talk about. So let's get to it. There is one tipping off right now in a couple of minutes in the MAC. Akron and Northern Illinois. Akron 8.5-point road favorites, 134.5 the total in this game. Akron, to me, laying this big of a number on the road is dicey. And it's even more dicey to me than taking Northern Illinois. I actually do have a small play on NIU here, plus the 8.5. Again, since the coaching change, we've seen at least a pulse of competitiveness from this Huskies team after really struggling early in the season. I just think it's a lot of points in an early game on the road in conference play for this Akron Zips team to be laying. I know they're the better of these two teams, but to me, Northern Illinois has picked it up a little bit, their intensity, their effort the last couple of games. Again, not a strong play for me, but a little small bet here for Northern Illinois at plus 8.5. Conor, did you have any opinion on that game?
No, I passed on it. Just what you said. Both teams. Yeah. Do you want to lay the 8.5 with Akron or take the 8.5 with Northern Illinois? And I wanted neither. I thought that was an early one. A lot of these early ones, especially this one's not too early, but some of these early games, if I just don't like it, I'm not going to go crazy into it. You know what I mean? Deep dive. And that was like one today where I was like, no way. I don't want to even put my mind in there because I probably would have taken the points with Northern Illinois, and I just didn't want to be sweating over that early on that game.
Yeah, you can expect the Tuesday cards moving forward. That's when your MACtion is going to take place. The MAC always plays on Tuesdays during the week, and we've got a lot of MAC games on this day, including this next one, Kent State, Central Michigan. Kent State, 7.5-point road favorites, 154.5 the total in this one. I did play over the total in this game. Central Michigan's defense is completely and utterly non-existent, and they play at a rapid, fast pace under Keno Davis. Kent State, the better of these two teams. I think they win the game. I would lean to them laying the points, but again, laying this big of a number in conference play, not something I'm as excited about doing. But I think Kent State can get themselves in 80s, maybe even hit 90, because the Central Michigan is given up in the 90s in some of their recent games. And I think you can get Central Michigan to be able, especially on their home court, I think they're going to be able to shoot the ball enough to get this game up and over the total. So that's the way I went here with Golden Flashes and the Chippewas over the total here, 154.5. Conor, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it can get towards the over. Central Michigan's just been horrible the last few games. I mean, wow. They're not a good basketball team. The MAC is a very it's like Sunbelt football. They're just very erratic, up and down, these college kids. You know what I mean? I guess it's a competition too, and they're just up and down. And when Central Michigan, they are down. They had a bad loss to Western Michigan on December 18th. I'm looking right now. That was kind of my it for them. I thought they'd be a little bit better team. They weren't too bad last year. I saw they're middle of the pack in the MAC, but I had to pass here. This is Kent State. I'd lay the points with them, and I'd lean towards that over, but it's getting up there at 155.
All right, so that's a pass for Conor on that one. We move to another MAC matchup. Miami, Ohio Redhawks, Ohio Bobcats. Ohio 9.5-point home favorites, 141.5 the total in this one. This one I don't have much of an opinion on. This one I passed on completely. I really don't have much of a lean on it either. This one where, again, Ohio, they've had some tough results. Remember, they played Toledo recently. There's no shame losing to Toledo. Toledo's been a pretty good team in the MAC conference. They've been a point spread machine this season as well. Just outstanding against the spread this year, the Toledo Rockets. So I don't think there's any shame in Ohio falling short in that game. This is a pretty good bounce back spot for them. I don't think I want this underdog. I'm not a big fan of what I've seen from Miami, Ohio this year. So the lean for me is Ohio, but numbers gotten up to the point where I don't want to lay that much. Conor, what's your thoughts?
It'd be Ohio here. I think it's a little higher. Preston's back, right? From what I saw earlier.
It appears he's showing us questionable on my thing, but I heard some things too. Be back.
I heard some rumblings too that he was gonna play today. Yeah, he's in. I think it's warranted at 9.5. I didn't play this one either, but I would lean with Ohio. They're a lot better with him in. They've been without him. They're just not the same team. Um, they need to have him in, and I think they could win this game and cover. But at double digits, I had to pass as well, so I passed on this one.
All right, next up, we got St. Joe's and Davidson. Davidson 14-point home favorites, 144 the total. Of course, for St. Joe's, it's just been a rough go without Ryan Daly. We know that. We've mentioned him now multiple times when we talk about a St. Joe basketball game. It's been really, really tricky to get any semblance, and their offense has just been totally a shell of what it normally is when he's on the floor, and they're having their big-time issues here. You can understand why Davidson's taking the money. I definitely would lean to the home favorite here, but at some point, it's a lot of points. And Davidson, for as good as they are, as well coached as they are, Kellen Grady, Brockovich and company, I love watching this team execute offensively, just like I have the last several years. It's just such a good, efficient team at the offensive end of the basketball court. Much more cohesion in terms of team offense right now than St. Joseph's, clearly, and much better defensively as well. St. Joe's hideous at that end of the floor. But it's a lot of points to be laying here. We're a Davidson team that's not going to play fast at all. It's going to take time off that shot clock with every possession. So, you need the possessions to be able to cover this kind of number. I can't make a case for Joe, but I'd be a little bit trepidatious, at least, about laying as much as 14 here with Davidson. What do you think about this one, Connor?
Yeah, David's the team that I love how they score the ball. They are kind of soft defensively. I watched that whole Dayton game, and for a struggling Dayton team to score on them at ease, Davidson's the better team, but I don't know about laying this 14 here, and it's tough. I don't want to take St. Joe's at 14, but they'd be the lean with me. At the very first, when I saw this game, I thought, wow, Davidson, I'd take it, but that's a lot here. It's a good bounce back spot for Davidson. But these are teams we talk about. Davidson's just not a team I want to go laying double digits, especially not 14. So I had to pass it. St. Joe's with the points or pass.
All right. So lean to in that one only for Conor. Next up, Big East action. Butler taking on St. John's. We've got the Johnnies, the Red Storm, -2 at home, 143 the total in this game. Mike Anderson's team, not very good at all here in Big East play. 1-5 they are in conference play. It's been a struggle for this team. You look at their losses: Seton Hall, Georgetown in overtime, Creighton. They did win the rematch against Georgetown, but that was at home. They get blown out, or not blown out by Xavier, but they lose by 8 on the road. They get blown out by Creighton in their last game, 97-79. Julian Champagne and not much else on the St. John's team. Kind of like a one-man operation here for this Red Storm team. It's been tough for them. Butler, to me, is a team that, watch out for them a little bit. I know they rallied from behind to beat Georgetown, but they're starting to get healthy again, Aaron Thompson included. That's significant for them. And they're at least playing some defense. I can't say that about St. John's. I'll be honest. I think there's maybe a value on Butler because of their struggles early on, because of the injuries they had. They're getting healthier. And which team do I trust in a game that's near pick'em like this one is? Which team do I trust to get more stops? Which team do I trust to get a little bit more done on the defensive end in a close game? I think that's Butler for me. And I certainly don't want to lay anything right now with what I've seen out of St. John's. So I'm going to go with Butler here, getting the 2. I think there's a once possession. It could be down to the wire. And I think Butler's got a puncher's chance on the road here to get the win. I just think they're a little bit better on the defensive end of the court, and that could be the difference. And I like that, because they've had all those injuries and they struggled with them, they've been lowered in their power rating. And now that they're starting to get healthy again, this team is now going to maybe play better and outperform where they're currently power rated. These are the kind of changes you got to look for in college basketball in January. Changes that are not going to be reflected right away in the point spread. And I think Butler getting healthy and maybe playing a little bit better these next few games is something that may take odds makers a few games to adjust to. So I like Butler here, +2. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, Butler's getting healthy, like you said, with Aaron Thompson. I'd take the 2 as well. St. John's can score, but I don't want to lay 2 with them. It'd be Butler or anything, and I might take a small play with Butler getting the +2. here as well, or just take a money line. Like you said, Connecticut, they lost by 12, but UConn's good defensive team, and they really clamped down late. They did it yesterday against DePaul. They beat Georgetown, and we know Georgetown's up and downs, but they lost a close game to Seton Hall by 8. I think they're trending the right direction, and they're getting a little healthier. And St. John's is, at the bottom of the Big East with, Georgetown, those teams we mentioned, DePaul. They're right down there at the bottom. Defensively, they don't stop anybody. I'd go with Butler. I take the 2 with them.
All right, next we go to the ACC, Miami Hurricanes, Boston College. Miami 2-point road favorites, 142 the total in this game. As always with Miami, it seems like they've had their key guys banged up all season long, and you're asking yourself each and every day, are they going to end up playing here? This game on the ACC network, Miami, when they're fully healthy, they could be a good team, but the problem is they haven't been fully healthy much. I'll give them credit. They were shorthanded against NC State on Saturday on the road and still win outright as underdogs, 64-59. And that's what you get from Miami. They've been a hard effort, hard-trying team. Look at the losses. By 2 to Virginia Tech, by 1 to Clemson, by 2 to North Carolina, and then they finally beat NC State. It's certainly not a team you can blow out. They're a good team taking points, Connor. Can we trust them now laying points on the road? They just might win this game because the Boston College is obviously really scuffled. They've lost 4 in a row in ACC play. In fact, they're 0-5 in ACC play. 38-point loss to Syracuse, 3-point loss to NC State, 12-point loss to Louisville, competitive loss to Duke. They gave Duke everything they could handle, but then they fall flat to Virginia at home, 61-49. In their last game, I like Winston Tabbs and Rich Kelly, but there's a big drop-off after you get past those 2 guys on this Boston College team. Again, check the injury report for Miami, McGusty and Likes in particular. They're the 2 guys that have been the questionables for weeks now with this team. But certainly you talk about defensive discrepancy. We said how Butler is definitely a little bit more of a reliable defensive team than St. John's. I think Miami might be a little bit more reliable of a defensive team than Boston College. In fact, Miami 44th in the country in defensive efficiency. That's pretty good. I would lean Miami. I don't love it. Having to lay points on the road, I'd rather get Miami in the underdog role, but I still think they're better than BC. They can go on the road and get the win. So if I were to play this one, it would be Miami. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, and I don't think Likes or McGusty are going to play, just from what I see. Man, they won. I had them the other day. I didn't have them to win outright. I had the 6.5 on Saturday against NC State. You know what I like more? We talked about laying the 2 is tough. That's just giving me – I still think they can go in there and win. I just don't love it. I like the under here. Since BC was kind of bad defensively, but all their games have been a little bit lower, and Miami is at a slow pace. Look at these 64-59, 65-66, especially without those scores. They want to grind it out lower games. So I like the under 141.5 here for sure. That's one of my top plays here.
All right, like one of the top plays. So there you go, under the total for a CMAC with Miami and Boston College. This game is maybe the game I'm looking forward to most of all. Certainly one of them on the card tonight. Big Ten showdown. This really is a showdown. 2 of the best teams in the Big Ten, Wisconsin and Michigan. Red hot Michigan. 3.5-point favorites here at Chrysler Center in Ann Arbor. Total 134.5 in this game. Michigan's a tough team to go against right now. They're on fire. There's no question about that. But they're going to meet some resistance here. And the one thing you can say about Michigan is this is going to be one of the best teams they've played all year, this Wisconsin Badgers team. And we don't usually see Wisconsin with Demetric Trice, Micah Potter, Brad Davison and company, underdogs, and especially underdogs where they're getting a full bucket, a full possession worth of points as an underdog. Look, it's Michigan's been on an incredible roll. There's no question. I still think their front court is a little vulnerable to power bigs. And, man, they're going to face one tonight in Micah Potter. And I'm not sold Michigan's better than Wisconsin. So, to me, I got to take 3.5. Again, not best bet, but I'm a little surprised this is not pick 'em. I could see a pick 'em in this game for sure. But to put Michigan out there at even more than just home court edge, which absolutely means nothing right now in the COVID era with no fans, I'm a little bit surprised Michigan's landed this. I get it. The public is going to, be infatuated with Michigan. They've been just winning games and covering point spreads routinely as of late. But they're going to be up against a very, very good Wisconsin team, and in a game that's probably, you could argue, Michigan's toughest opponent to date this season. They're going to have to show it to me that they can not only win, but win by margin against this Wisconsin team. I think the way to go would be take the 3.5 here with the Wisconsin Badgers. What do you think, Connor? Wisconsin, Michigan.
I agree with you. And the Wolverines have looked good, and they've shocked me. And props to Juwan Howard, the job he's done and how well they played. But like you said, without the home fans, you're saying they're 3.5, maybe 4, better than Wisconsin. I don't think so. I think this is kind of this many points is not a gift, but I like it a lot. Like you said, I want to take the 3 with Wisconsin. Only Michigan hasn't played anybody. Their top game is against who they played is Minnesota. That's it on their schedule. Yep. They did play Maryland, but they're not. I mean, they've had a couple.
Nebraska. I know Nebraska's been on their schedule lately. It's not a who's who of dominant Big Ten teams.
Yeah, Ball State, Bowling Green, Toledo. Michigan's good. I think it'll be a good game, but I'd rather in a game like this, I think the team that's had the harder schedule, I want to take points instead of lay it. I don't want to, in a game like this, I wouldn't want to lay 3.5 than take points. Do you know what I mean? It not in a tight one, because I think this one's tight. And I'd lean towards the under because of Wisconsin's defense. Their defense is one of the top in the country. And Michigan hasn't faced too much size, I think, anyone that can do it. And I think Wisconsin really gives them trouble tonight. So I think it's a good one. I think this is a good game, close game here tonight. I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like we both lean Wisconsin. I'm sorry, Big Show picks. I'm sorry. I know you Let's Go Blue, and you're saying Michigan by 9 in the chat.
He can take it. He loves it.
Hopefully for you, yeah. As a Michigan fan, I don't know if it's going to play out that way, but I understand why you're saying that. Ball State and Bowling Green. Bowling Green 8-point favorites here. Back to the MAC here. 148 the total. Again, Bowling Green, very good offensive team. A little bit up and down defensively. I certainly don't like much about Ball State. It's a game where I lean favorite and over, but I didn't get there with a wager on either one. Connor, how about you? Ball State, Bowling Green.
I didn't either. If I did, I'd take Bowling Green. They've played well lately, and they've covered. It was beat up on the team we just talked about, Central Michigan. I took them a few times. They've covered the last 3, I think. Ohio, Northern Illinois, and Central. This one will be a little bit tough, but I'd lean Bowling Green here. Sorry, I'm getting all confused. I lean Bowling Green. I take them here. I just don't love it, but I think they can cover the 8 here against Ball State.
All right, lean and definitely do Bowling Green there. On we go. SEC. SEC action here. Ole Miss, Florida. We've got Florida 3-point favorites in the Swamp. 138 the total. It's certainly from a spot perspective. This game kind of stands out as a good one for Florida. They've been beaten up a little bit, against some pretty tough competition Florida's had to face. Let's be honest, Florida has had to face a lot of good teams lately in the SEC. When you look at who Mike White's squads had to play, they had to play Kentucky, they had to play Alabama, they had to play LSU in 3 straight games. You could argue those are 3 of the best teams in the SEC other than Tennessee right there. Those are probably your next 3 best teams in the SEC, Kentucky, Alabama, LSU. You had to play them 3 in a row, and although you only went 1-2 in those games, those were pretty tough competition. Now you're back home taking on Ole Miss. Ole Miss just 1-2 in conference play. The win was at home against a very, very underachieving Auburn Tigers team. The losses were blowout losses to Alabama on the road, and then a blowout loss 75-61 at home against LSU for this Ole Miss team on Saturday. I think it's a get-well spot for Florida. I would only look to them here, minus the 3 at home against Ole Miss. Again, Ole Miss hasn't shown that ability to step up against better teams in the conference and on the road, and that's what they're going to have to do here in this one. I would lean Florida Gators here, laying the short number. C-Mac, what do you think here? SEC matchup, Ole Miss, Florida.
Yeah, I think this is a get-right spot for Florida. I just don't know what to make of them lately. They have not looked good. And this one was a tough one. If it was more points, maybe 5, I'd look Mississippi. I think they could keep it close with their defense, but they haven't been good on the road. So this was a quick one. I'd pass. It's just the number's right where it's at. It's basically saying Florida's a little better. They're on their own floor, you know. So I had to pass on this one. I couldn't get an angle here.
All right. Tennessee Vanderbilt was postponed, so we move on to Duke Virginia Tech. Duke 1.5 point road favorites here down there in Blacksburg. The total 142.5. And if I'm not mistaken, Duke struggled in this venue multiple times in the past. I'll tell you what, I flat out do not trust Duke here laying points on the road. I cashed one with Wake Forest against Duke on the weekend plus the points, and they were wire to wire inside the number. In fact, Duke pushed the lead to double digits late, but they just struggled to really pull away from Wake Forest at any point in that game. And I still don't love the Duke defense. And now they're going to have to face this Mike Young coached Virginia Tech team. All they do is share the ball, get a good shot, really break down a half-court defense as good as any team. Duke, with the youth they have and their inability to be fully now they did beat Notre Dame on the road in conference play, but I don't think Notre Dame's anything special this year. I think Virginia Tech's one of those teams, Connor. Like, what can you say? I mean, what have they really done wrong this year? And this is not even the best edition of Virginia Tech. I think they're going to continue to get, better recruits, more of Mike Young's guys in here next year and 2 years from now. They're not even supposed to be, as good as they've been so far this year. I don't get the love for Duke here. I am not on board with this market move on the Blue Devils. In fact, I'm fading it. Give me Virginia Tech here, getting the 1.5 at home. I'm going to dare this Duke team to beat a disciplined, well-coached team on the road. I'm not sure they can. I like the Hokies. C-Mac, what's your thoughts here? Duke fought Tech.
Yeah, Duke. I don't think this is the spot. I'm surprised that they're laying 1.5. I think it should be the other way around. I think Virginia Tech should be favored by 1.5 too. So I'm with you. I'm on Virginia Tech. I've took them the last few. Pulled away from Notre Dame just the other day. I had them. Good game against Louisville. Lost by 2. They were kind of down a little bit in that one. But like you said, they're a little ahead of schedule. Like you were saying with Mike Young. Duke is lost. Their guard play is still not good. I still don't think they're good defensively right now. And time's ticking. Maybe this year, some of these teams, it's just a loss year. I mean, I'm sure they win some games here in ACC play. But give me Virginia Tech. And I lean the over. Virginia Tech's been an over machine. I think they've hit like 5 straight in a push. So I'd lean over because I've seen Duke is not very good defensively. Line's 142. I think that's right where it's at. I'd lean that over as well.
Yeah, I would. I would lean over as well. You're not going to get pace from Virginia Tech, but you get efficiency on offense. And that can make up maybe for them, not being that kind of team that goes up and down the floor. Eastern Michigan, Toledo 9-point home favorites, 143.5 the total. Like, why bet against Toledo right now? I mean, it's just one of those situations where until the number catches up to this team, why fade them? I mean, they just keep on being a moneymaker and a point spread profit producer for their backers. They did it again against Ohio. They've had a good season. They tested themselves, in non-conference play. They played Xavier. They played some pretty decent teams in their non-conference schedule. This is a really solid Toledo squad. And the only argument you can make is that the number is caught up to them, if you want to go against them. But we haven't seen evidence of that because they keep on cashing tickets. So until I see that time where Toledo fails against the number, I'm not in any rush to go against them. I know there has been some money come in here on Eastern Michigan. They opened 11. It's down to 9. And they're certainly, I think, a better defensive team slightly than Toledo. Toledo's certainly the much better offensive team, though. It's just a question of which is going to win out here in this game. I'm just saying it right now, flat out. I'm not betting against Toledo. They've been that good against the number, and they keep cashing. And until I see otherwise, I've got no interest in stepping in front of this Toledo rocket train that is ongoing right now. Connor, your thoughts here, EMU Toledo.
Yeah, it's the Rockets or pass. And 9's there. I wouldn't, I wouldn't go double digits here with him. I've been on since the beginning in the Bradley game, so I've been cashing with Toledo all year. So I got to go with them here. They already beat Eastern Michigan by 15, I think, earlier in the year, 16. I think you got to lay it again. It's not my favorite play, but I'd lay the 9 with Toledo.
All right, lay the nine. I don't disagree. I wouldn't argue with anyone looking at Toledo.
They got
especially
great
now.
guard play.
They do.
Yeah.
Excellent backcourt. 100% right. And they can flat out shoot it. They distribute the ball well, facilitate the offense, don't turn it over much. I mean, it's really good, this Toledo offense, and we've seen it on display this year. Big 12 action now. We move down to TCU, Oklahoma. We've got the Sooners, 6.5-point home favorites in Norman, 137.5 the total. And we got a really injury-depleted Oklahoma team coming into tonight. Brady Manick out. Doolittle, I believe, may not play as well. I mean, they've got some key injuries going into this game here tonight against TCU. Going to be a shorthanded squad. That's definitely a concern for me against TCU. TCU has been kind of helter-skelter in terms of their own results, and that's a little bit troubling. But one thing that they have been able to do, TCU at times, is be able to go on the road, stay competitive. We've seen signs of that, and I think they have that chance to do that here. Let's not forget they have a road win against Oklahoma State on their resume. They beat Kansas State as well on the road. They've had some good road performances, 2-0. In fact, in Big 12 road games, I should say, R.J. Nembhard has been absolutely terrific for this team. So again, with the injuries, including to Brady Manick, the senior here for Oklahoma, which is a significant absence, we've seen some money come in on TCU, and I'll tell you right now, some of that money is mine. I do like the Horned Frogs here, getting the 6.5. I think I got it when it was 7, but even now it's 6.5. As the Oklahoma injury news has prompted this line move, I think we get a competitive game. I think it'll be difficult for Oklahoma to win this game by a significant margin against a TCU team that has shown the ability to play good basketball on the Big 12 road. And you've got Oklahoma kind of trending in the wrong direction. I know they beat West Virginia at home. They lost to Texas Tech at home. They get blown out by Baylor. They lose to Kansas, although competitive, but they lose to Kansas 63-59. I think it's just going to be tough for them with the injuries to win by margin. So I like the TCU side here. C-Mac, what's your thoughts here, TCU, Oklahoma?
I'm with you. I think the injuries are a little too much here for Oklahoma. I think they kind of glued it together, and it was a scrappy game. Kansas had one of their games. We'll talk about them later. They didn't shoot the ball very well, and that can happen to them at times. That's why I don't think they're good, but I don't think they're top 5 team this year, Kansas. I'm with you. I got a small play with TCU plus the points here. I think this one's pretty close. Just those injuries to Oklahoma. I don't want to lay 6.5 right now. So I'm with you.
All right, liking TCU as well. Kansas, speaking of Kansas, yeah, here they are again, taking on Oklahoma State. Another Big 12 matchup here. Kansas, 3.5-point road favorites in Stillwater. The total 145 in this game. Kansas certainly got the job done. Not pretty, but effective, I guess is what they would call that, against Oklahoma over the weekend. After they beat up on TCU pretty handily before that. Oklahoma State, boy, I mean, you look at a frustrating couple of results for them. And yeah, I mean, this is a team that's had the ability to close out games, hasn't necessarily been able to do that consistently. West Virginia, Texas, they had those games in hand. TCU at home, so many close losses for Oklahoma State. But that's the tricky part, Connor, about laying 3.5 with Kansas here. I think they're the better team, and I think they've got a chance to win this basketball game here against Oklahoma State. But when you look at Oklahoma State in conference play, they beat Texas Tech on the road. They blow out Kansas State. That's not impressive, but the road win against Texas Tech is. And then you look at all their other games, 1-point loss to TCU, 3-point loss on the road to Texas, 3-point loss at home to West Virginia, and they were up big, really big in that game, and then absolutely collapsed in the second half. It's a tricky team to lay points against. This Oklahoma State team, because they just seem to be in every single basketball game, even against good teams. So I'm not laying 3.5 with Kansas. For me, it's a lean Oklahoma State, but I haven't pulled the trigger yet. Just a lean for me in that direction to the home dog Oklahoma State in this one. C-Mac, what do you think here? Kansas, Oklahoma State.
I want to take Oklahoma State here. They just faded down the stretch in these games, and Cade Cunningham's kind of it. He's got to score a lot to be in these games. If you trust that, I think they're live. I mean, I don't like that's trending down. I would have liked 4.5, and I see like getting 3.5s now. It's all about Kansas. I just talked about their shooting. They just look off. I saw McCormick had 1 rebound last game. 1 rebound. David McCormick in their last game. I don't know what Kansas team you're gonna get. The one that's I know their defense will come, but I think Kansas has played more higher scoring games, and Oklahoma State's been an over team. I look towards the over here. I think this one can creep over the total. Oklahoma State's been in the 70s, even low 80s a lot of their games. I think they want to keep the pace up, but it's all about the whole 40 minutes. Can Oklahoma State? That's what I'm a little worried about. I lean them with the points and the over. So I think I might get to a window on both, but that's the way I'm leaning on it.
Yeah, I think Spencer in the chat said something about first half Oklahoma as well. That might be even better because we have seen some bad second halves from them, and we have seen the bottom fall out from them a couple of times in the second half of these games. So maybe to protect yourself, and it's been really the last 7 to 10 days in college basketball, it's been the period of the collapse. So many of these teams have just completely fallen apart in the second half of these games. And if you think that could happen here with Oklahoma State, maybe you back up the plus 3.5 or 4 full game with a first half bet as well. Brandon P in the chat saying, where's Ski? He doesn't cap college basketball. So we'd love to have him on the show if he capped college basketball, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's just Conor and I with the college basketball shows. Ski is with us for NBA closing time, and we do that show Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Like I said, if Ski did college basketball, 100% we'd have him on the show because he's a good friend of ours. He does a great job himself betting and handicapping, but he doesn't handicap college basketball. So there's your answer as to where is he and why he's not here. So
he'll be here tomorrow, though. So
yeah, NBA, he's here, and he had a great night in NBA line. I think a lot of us did, except my best bet was just a complete
mine missed
disaster with the Suns there. They just didn't show up against the Washington Wizards. But a lot of those totals cashed last night. We had Bucks Magic under the total.
Yep.
We had Memphis and Cleveland under the total. I'm starting to bet some unders, and I'm starting to win with them. And I never won with unders for like years
in the
years.
NBA.
I'm starting to bet some, and I'm winning. So I might, if the game makes sense to the under, I might start recommending more of them because usually I've just been snake bit when it comes to unders. But it was good to see some of those come in last night in the NBA on the NBA betting slate. So again, NBA tomorrow, and by the way, college basketball again tomorrow too. So it's a busy day, 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll do the college basketball show, Conor and I, and then Ski will join us. Actually, it'll just be Ski and I tomorrow on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern for the NBA show. So make sure tomorrow here on Pub Sports Radio, you tune in for that. Big East action now, Providence and Marquette. We've got Marquette 4-point home favorites, 139 the total. Spot play, kind of like the way I feel about the Florida game. We talked about that earlier against Ole Miss. This spot play, I think it makes sense to look Marquette. They've had some tough results lately, but I don't know. Providence has had one crushing, brutal loss after another. That was painful on Sunday against Xavier. It was an early start game. It tipped off right before all the NFL games started, the 2 playoff games, and Providence had that game in their grasp and let it slip away. And, of course, they get beaten at the buzzer by Xavier. I think it's a difficult ask to get this team to turn around quickly and go on the road, face a rested Marquette team. Marquette that I think is in a circle the wagon spot. A Marquette team that I think is a pretty good basketball team. They've hit some hard luck, but they've certainly had a lot of time to pick themselves up and get themselves ready for this game here against Providence. And I just don't trust the mentality or psyche right now of Providence after what they've gone through. 2 just crushing losses in a row against Creighton and Xavier. 2 winnable games that they just couldn't close the door on. I think with Marquette returning home here, they've got a chance to step up and get the job done here. I would look to the Marquette side laying the 4 points. What do you think, CMAC, with Providence and Marquette?
Yeah, I think this is a game for Marquette, but Providence stays in games, For some reason, they just hang around. Ed Cooley, and I like him this time of year. I think they hang. I'm going to roll with Providence getting the 4. I think they keep this game close. They had that heartbreaking loss, like you said, and then the game before that, they lost by 2 to Creighton. They beat Butler. They lost by 5 to DePaul. They play some close games, even their losses. They had a bad loss at Alabama.
No.
But I'm going to take Providence in the 4. It might bite me, but I think that's enough. I think they can keep it close. I'm going with the Ed Cooley play here, getting his guys up. Hopefully,
you know what?
To cover this one.
All things considered, in normal circumstances, Providence +4, I'd be looking that way as well. Some of those player reactions after the loss to Xavier were worrisome, that they just might hit a wall tonight, and it's against a Marquette team that I think it's desperate times for Marquette.
It is.
They've lost a couple in a row. They're rested. They haven't played in a while. Situationally, it's good for Marquette, but obviously Providence is good in the underdog role more often than not. We know that. Getting points with Providence has been good. Let's see if it's good tonight, in spite of the fact they've had a couple of really, really brutal, painful losses in a row against Xavier and Creighton. We move on now. Alabama, Kentucky, great game here. One of the better games of the night for sure. Kentucky 3-point home favorites, 148 the total. And I get it. Kentucky's showing signs of life. There's no doubt. And we knew that John Calipari's very, very young Kentucky group would get better as the season progresses, just as we thought. We knew early in the season there'd be growing pains. This is a very, very young group when you look at these guys. When you look at this roster of Kentucky and see just the amount of youth they're dealing with, they have 2 seniors, Olivier Sarr and Davion Mintz. And outside of that, it's loaded with freshmen, or sophomores. Keon Brooks and Brandon Boston's a sophomore. Devin Askew, Cameron Fletcher, Isaiah Jackson. These are all freshmen. This is a very, very young team that John Calipari's got this season. And you knew it was going to be growing pains early. They are showing signs of life. And it really started with a close loss to Louisville, 62-59, where they almost beat a good Louisville team on the road. Since then, 3 straight wins in a row, gutted out a double overtime win against Mississippi State, beat Vanderbilt, not pretty against Vanderbilt, but they beat them 77-74. The last game was the impressive one. Going on the road, not a great, but a solid Florida team, and they just dominate them start to finish, 76-58. So I get it. Kentucky's offense is playing better. Kentucky's defense is playing better. Having said that, are they ready for Alabama, who are just this freight train right now? Nate Oates has gotten this team playing their best ball. John Petty, Javon Quinterly, who actually may not play tonight, from what I've read. He may not go for Alabama, so that would be significant if he doesn't play. But they still got Jordan Bruner, Jaden Shackelford, Herbert Jones, John Petty capable of stepping up as well. Some solid depth on their bench as well. They'll miss him, and I think that's the reaction as well that we're seeing, the Quinterly injury, in terms of why Kentucky is getting bet up. Plus, of course, the way they've played the last couple games. They're getting better, and I don't argue that there's going to be point spread value with Kentucky moving forward. This isn't the night I'd be looking to bet Kentucky, though. I like this Alabama team a lot, the way they're going. Not a strong play for me, but now that it's hit 3, I grabbed a little +3 here on the Alabama side. You can go to Tennessee and beat them on the road. Why can't you go to Rupp Arena and beat this much younger, more inexperienced, more inconsistent Kentucky team? I think Alabama's got the chance, +3. The stronger bet for me is over the total because, like I said, Kentucky's offense is surging right now.
They're
scored
starting
78, 77, 76 in their last 3 games. And Alabama, I don't care that Kentucky's playing a little bit better defensively. Kentucky's recent opponents, Florida, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, that they've beaten, none of those teams are offensively what Alabama is. Not even close. I mean, Alabama's scoring 85, 82, 86, 94 in 4 of their last 5 games. Kentucky's not going to stop them completely, and I think their own offense is perked up, especially at home against Alabama's defense, is going to be able to find the basket as well. So I have a small bet on Alabama and a bigger bet over the 148 here with Alabama and Kentucky. C-Mac, what's your thoughts here with the Crimson Tide and the Wildcats?
To start with the total, I'd go with the over as well. I mean, you can't. In Alabama, overs have been pretty good. They've had a couple unders lately, but Kentucky has scored a lot better. I thought they would in SEC play. They had a tough schedule too. I mean, when you were in Kentucky, Calipari was all crying about it. Oh, we got to play that. Shut up. He's crying. You made the schedule. Play the cupcake teams, and I don't know what he wants wins, I guess. But I think it'll make the team better. As we see going down. Alabama 10-3, their last 13 on the road, and the last 5, they're 5-0 against the spread. If this was a pick'em, I liked Kentucky, but at -3, I don't know. I'd only lean towards Alabama, and I don't love it. And I like Alabama. I think Kentucky's playing better. It'd be Alabama or pass, and that's tough. Alabama burned me. The over was money on Saturday, but they kind of sloppy late and only won by 4, and I had them 4.5. So against Auburn. This one's tough. I'd lean maybe the points, but I don't know. Kentucky was my best bet the other day, and they look good against Florida. But I think this is a tighter game, so 3 points might be too many. So it'd be the points. I'd lean with Alabama. I'm still thinking about this one a lot.
Yeah, and again, there's that the angle's not as strong in college as the NBA with key player injured. They all step up and all play better collectively. But you could see that tonight, even without Quinterly for Alabama. And I know Kentucky struggled early in the year. Alabama's still going to come out and want to give it their all, their A game tonight, because the cachet of beating Kentucky at Rupp Arena, that mystique. We went into Rupp Arena and we beat Kentucky. That's significant. There's something to that. That fires up teams when they go in there and play in Kentucky. And again, Kentucky's making strides, making improvements, but I'm still not sold on them being better than Alabama. And if I don't think they're better than Alabama, I have to take +3. Simple as that. Getting that many points here with Alabama in this one. So I like that side, but I probably like the total even more. Like I said, over the total, you're seeing these Alabama games, 150s with ease in the majority of them. And I think we get more of the same here in this one with Alabama and Kentucky, especially with Kentucky playing more efficient offense the last few games. Let's go to the ACC. Syracuse taking on North Carolina. We've got the North Kakalaki Tar Heels, 4.5-point home favorites, 145.5 the total. Boy, I would lean North Carolina here. I don't know if I have any sort of trust right now in Syracuse. You talk about a herky-jerky team. My goodness. Up and down, all around. They've had some really, really great moments, and then they've just had some ugly, disastrous ones as well for Jim Boeheim this year, like having a double-digit lead against Pittsburgh and then blowing it completely and losing 63-60, barely beating Buffalo in overtime at home. Although Buffalo's good, but still struggled to put that game away.
Yeah.
They struggled to put Georgetown away, 74-69. Now they got to go on the road, face North Carolina. They have played 2 true road games this year. That's it. Boston College was a big road win, but against Rutgers, they got blown out 79-69. So, North Carolina is better than Boston College. I'd say they're probably on par with Rutgers. And, of course, Syracuse lost by 10 on the road at Rutgers. I lean North Carolina here. I just have a little bit more faith in them in this spot than Syracuse. And this is another over the total for me at 145.5 in this game. Syracuse is playing a lot faster. Their tempo numbers have gone up dramatically. This was a 200s in the country tempo team last year. They're 79th this year in terms of tempo so far. So they're playing a lot faster. You would think with the 2-3 zone, it would slow them down. No, they've sped up this year completely. And they can shoot it. I do like Quincy Gurrier for this Syracuse team. He's been outstanding. They've had Merrick Dolezaj forever on this team. The son of the coach, Buddy Boeheim, now that he's healthy, has stepped up offense. Joe Girard III has shown some capabilities too in that backcourt. So there's things to like about Syracuse offensively. I think defensively, the zone, looks, you worry maybe a little bit about North Carolina's ability to beat the zone in terms of their shooting. But when you're getting rebounds and putbacks, and I think North Carolina could own the glass and dominate Syracuse in terms of rebounding, then that's how you beat the zone. You get quick baskets, quick putbacks, quick layups because you're just bigger, stronger, uh, taller than the opponent down low. And I think North Carolina is here in this game. So I would lean to the favorite here. And like the last game, I'm only lukewarm on the side. I think the total's the stronger bet. We'll go with Syracuse, North Carolina over the total. You know you're going to get pace from Roy Williams in North Carolina. That's the way it always is from them. So I think mid 140s where this total is, we could find our way over that number. C-Mac, what's your thoughts here? Syracuse, North Carolina.
Yeah, this one could get over. I'm worried some games, Syracuse, it's all about their shooting. And I think North Carolina is here, but not at 5. I think that's getting there. It's all about if you like Syracuse, you think they can shoot well, because I don't think they're a very good team, like you said. I mean, they beat Bryant by 1. You were going through it. The 10-point loss to Rutgers. That was just a blowout against BC. This is their only other road game. Now that it's at 5, I lean Syracuse. I don't love it a lot. And that total's kind of the way they've been playing, lean over, but I don't love that either. So I'm kind of passing on this one. If anything, I'd take Syracuse in the 5 points.
Ryan in the chat, Western Michigan over 149 gets there. Yes, much to my delight. That was on my card. Buffalo, Western Michigan, the early game over the total.
Yeah, that over?
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, it gets there. What was the final? 85-69. 154 points in that game. And I didn't even get a good number. I didn't bet that over until I got 149 on it. And it opened at 144. So I normally don't like doing that. But 144 was a terrible, terrible number on that total. You can't put a Buffalo game 144. You can't. I mean, they are outstanding offensively. They are top 30 in tempo and pace in the country. That was just a flat out bad total. And you're not supposed to get totals and lines that are that bad where they put out a bad open like that in January in college basketball. But that's what we had in that game. All right, we'll move on. And by the way, Akron, Northern Illinois is 31-28. Akron, that game approaching halftime. So Northern Illinois plus those points hanging around so far. But we know I've seen this enough. The second half, I've seen some of my teams have the bottom fall out in the second half of these games. Hopefully we can avoid that here with Northern Illinois. All right, we're down to Cal, Riverside, and USC. This is the last game on the main board. USC 14-point home favorites here, 132.5 the total. I want no part of this game either way. I know Riverside's struggling, no question about that. But you're going to put USC in a game laying this number right in the middle of conference play for this USC team when they're playing these big, opponents like Arizona lately, Arizona State. They played some big games in their conference. Now they step out of conference. I don't trust the focus to be there. And if the focus, I don't trust it to be there for a 14-point favorite, then I'm not laying the points. It's as simple as that. So if I had to, I'd take a chance with Riverside. But, man, they're just not a very good basketball team, and they're not very good offensively either. They've struggled to put the biscuit in the basket this year. C-Mac, what's your thoughts here? Riverside, USC.
Yeah, it'd be USC, but this is a lot. Like you said, right in the middle of the conference play. I took Hawaii back-to-back days. They covered and they won the other day. I can't play it. It'd be SC or nothing. SC is really good. 14's a lot. If you want to sweat that out, I think they should win this by more than 14, but I'm going to pass.
All right. Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm passing on that one as well.
No reason to go on that one.
And by the way, we've got the added board here. Hey, my camera's back. There we go. Yeah, the software finally updated. All right, we're back.
Oh, look at that magic.
Face there we go. We're back in black, literally. Back here. All right, the added board.
Back in color.
That's what happens as soon as because I've got this the way this camera works. When the software needs to be updated, it won't work. Like there's the video part of it won't work. So I got to update the software, and then as soon as the software finishes updating, it just pops back on. So there you go. We're back now for at least the last 2 minutes of the show. Anyway, but great timing on that. But the show's almost over, and now the camera comes back on. All right, added board here. One game, Alabama State, Mississippi Valley State. I just looked at the total in this game, and it's another over for me here. It's not very, very difficult to make a case for the Delta Devils of Mississippi Valley State over the total, especially when it's only in the mid 140s, like it is for this game against Alabama State. I know that Alabama State squad, they can be nails on a chalkboard offensively at times, which is why this total is as low as it is. But you can get right offensively when you play Mississippi Valley State, who just haven't been able to stop any of this. Is absolutely one of the worst. Talk about defensive efficiency. I think Mississippi Valley State is in the 340s, which is like almost right at the bottom of any Division I team in college basketball. So it's an over bet for me. This is about as low a total as we've seen for Mississippi Valley State in quite some time. Let's see if we can take advantage of that. I like over 144.5 there with Alabama State, Mississippi Valley State. That's my only bet on the added board today. What about you, Connor? Did any of these added board games catch your eye?
Just this game, they've been on an under because they can't score. Mississippi Valley State, they give up so many points. But this might be two of the worst teams in the country, Alabama State and Mississippi State. Yep. And I think Mississippi Valley actually might be able to score. That's why this one might get over. And I'd lean with you, the over here. I think they're that bad where Mississippi, because they've been scoring in the 40s, 41, 48, Mississippi Valley. I think they can get more than that. And this one, leans you over. And I'd lean Alabama State, which is crazy to say at 9. I'm not going to bet it, but these teams are really bad. These are like really, really bad basketball teams. It's at the bottom of the barrel. But yeah, I lean the over and lean Alabama State a little bit. -9.
All right. So a lean to the favorite here, Alabama State, and also leaning over the total with that one. There we go. That is the card for this Tuesday. A really good card. Lots of Wisconsin, Michigan, Alabama, Kentucky. We have some pretty good games on the board tonight in this one. Connor, before we get to best bets to wrap up the show, any sponsor messages?
Yeah. Just if you guys need another book, go to mybookie.ag, hit promo code PubSports. You get 50% off your credit or debit, and you get 100% off your Bitcoin. So if you put 1,000, they give you 1,000. And just hit mybookie.ag, promo code PubSports, and go to bulksupplements.com. Get 10% off your order. Get all the vitamins, all the shit to get you jacked up, creatine, all that stuff at bulksupplements.com. Tell them PubSports sent you. Let them know. Hit it in the promo code. Tell them how much you love it. That's it.
There we go. All right. Best bet, Connor Mack. Where are we going for best bet on the Tuesday college basketball slate?
Well, I like that under I gave out, but I won't give out. I'll take Virginia Tech. Give me the +1.5, but just take it money line. I think they can beat Duke. Taking Virginia Tech.
All right, there we go. Virginia Tech +1.5 against Duke, and I agree with that. I'm on that one as well, but I'm not on that one for a best bet. I am on for a best bet on this Tuesday night slate. Let's go TCU Horned Frogs +6.5 against Oklahoma. Not only injuries, but key injuries to Oklahoma. Very difficult, I think, to win. And TCU's some of their better results have honestly been on the road. It's like, we get out of Fort Worth, we actually play a little bit better.
I think they're out of Fort Worth.
Yeah. Not that we need to have our arm twisted, but nevertheless, they have played some of their better ball. Jamie Dixon and his team this year away from home. I think they take this one down to the wire. Hell, might even have a chance to get the outright win on the road as well. So TCU for me +6.5 against Oklahoma. That is my best bet for this college basketball closing time show for Tuesday, January 12th. That'll wrap it up. Thank you to everyone for tuning in to this show and tuning into everything here on Pub Sports Radio. Our shows during the day, breaking down the games, the live shows at night, horse racing with Razor Sharp and that gang, the UFC stuff, the live shows for, big sporting events, football games and such. We're going to try to be doing some NBA stuff in terms of live betting on the channel in the weeks and months to come. So there's still lots to come. By the way, NHL Play of the Day videos I'll be recording those daily for Pub Sports Radio. Just little 2-3 minute videos. Play of the Day. I did it last year on this channel. I did it 2 years ago on this channel for the NHL. And I'm looking forward to doing it again this year with the NHL season starting tomorrow night. So NHL Play of the Day videos, once again, from me at Pub Sports Radio. So looking forward to that as well. A reminder that Conor and I are back college basketball tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. And then Ski Prophet and I, NBA closing time tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. So back-to-back basketball shows here on the Pub
Big
Sports
Wednesday.
Radio channel. Big Wednesday. It always is. Big and busy Wednesday. Hopefully a profitable one as well. For Conor, Mac, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Tuesday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, one more time for another edition of the College Basketball Closing Time Show right here on Pub